So I ran into a little headline today about Andrew Tate. He's always at the top of the headlines and making news when something happens. And today, when he landed in Florida, he immediately had to give all of his electronics to the authorities because there's an investigation. I believe it's called a preliminary investigation, which they're looking into Andrew Tate. Now, I don't know how much connection there is between the Attorney General and Ron DeSantis. I'm sure there's more than meets the eye. It's not just speculation. There was this press conference that Ron DeSantis gave where a lot of reporters were asking him, how come Florida's allowing Andrew Tate to come into the state or into the country? Essentially, they're insinuating that he's not welcome here. Ron DeSantis went as far as to say so. Now, the thing is, I'm not trying to defend Andrew Tate. There's a lot of issues I don't like about him. He's a top priority for people that are against toxic masculinity, and I can see why because of some of his controversial stances. But again, that's not the point of what's going on here. He is an American citizen. If he is not convicted of any crimes, he should be allowed to come and leave this country whenever he sees so fit. That is one of our benefits as being a legal American citizen. So I don't understand what now the conservatives like Ron DeSantis are doing by insinuating that someone isn't welcome to their state when they're a citizen. I don't care what side of the spectrum they're on. This is the issue nowadays, right? And it's a scary one that I'm starting to see more and more of. The politicization of our court system, right? We get somebody head of office and all of their agendas trickle down all the way into the court system. I've had negative issues happen with regards to a car accident that my car was involved in. And even though I was in the complete right, I ended up having to pay for my own car because the other person didn't have insurance. They weren't covered. And the very liberal judge applied her interpretations of the law instead of strictly going by what the law says. And I think it's very important that law should be interpreted by what it says, not by the perspective of each given judge. Judges have very important jobs. They are at the very top of the pyramid when it comes to applying morals and ethics. They should not be influenced by their politics. And again, I get that's hard because they are human. But when it comes to being a judge, when it comes to being the ultimate force when it comes to law, there needs to be a very open mind that looks at the law, looks at the incident, and applies it correctly. And I absolutely understand if there's a governor, if there's a president that says, hey, Attorney General, I need you to look into this for me and see if there's anything there. That can be done. But all of these other offices below the governor or below the president should not do exactly what is asked of them. They should be very objective. That is their value in our system. And I don't care what side of the political system they are on. I don't like when the Biden administration was abusing it, and I definitely don't want the conservatives doing the same thing because it becomes more than a slippery slope. This ushers us towards a very dark and sad fate in this country, where every time a regime changes, we're manipulated in different ways. And we get more on edge and we hate each other more. So we start passing more legislation that strips us away of more rights. And at the end of the day, we have nothing left other than our hate for one another. So when I see something like what Ron DeSantis and the Attorney General in Florida are doing to an American citizen, doesn't matter that he's Andrew Tate. I don't like a lot of things he's done. And regardless, he's a grown man. He can do what he wants. Most likely, he shouldn't be doing most of this on camera. That's where he gets into a lot of trouble. But again, he's an American citizen. He is not convicted of a crime or even being accused of a crime. They're looking into it as if it's a conspiracy theory. And this is where you get and why you get people like Alex Jones and people that are completely disassociated from the system, from society, and just disenchanted with what's going on in society because of all this political agenda, left and right, constantly happening and not being here for justice. These political agendas need to be completely out of our system, out of our politics, out of our news, out of our laws, out of our legislation, gone. We need our judges to be morally and ethically very, very strong. Just when I saw today what was going on with Andrew Tate, I just thought to myself, these are just stepping stones, right? It's easy to get a bunch of people to hate him because of his stances. But you know what? Eventually, that same thing that's being applied to him or will be applied to you. And that's where all the trouble starts, is these little stepping stones where they start taking away our rights and infringe upon them, step by step by step. And this is definitely a step. Rights need to be respected. Because right now it's easy, right? We go after a guy that's at the top of the food chain that you want to see go down. But eventually those laws get turned on us. Just take a look at the Patriot Act and look at the rights that have been infringed upon us already.